Hey everyone, Thunderbolt here, and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. Today, this was episode 2 of our first embark into Dwarf Fortress. So, we're gonna we're gonna start off this episode right where we left off the last one. And we're gonna skip out of this screen and we're gonna get into our brand new world that we have created and see what kind of trouble we can get into. So every time this game has loading, it will freeze up, but it's just doing all the loading in the background, of course. So my screen right now says it is not responding, of course, but it'll be there in a second. And boom, here we are. So we have, you start the game in springtime, and as you can see here, our little caravan here is in the middle of our screen. Let's explain a little bit about the UI here. So we got our world map right here. We have our build menu, which shows all of our hotkeys, and is recommended to keep these on basically all the time unless you really know the game. There's an indication up here that our game is currently paused, which is good. 7 idlers, which means none of our dwarves are doing anything, and here, of course, Dwarf Fortress. It's the name of the game. Our FPS, 100 frames per second. That's basically what's built into, the lazy noob pack here. It's built in to run at 100 frames a second at all times, pretty much. So I'm going to hit the tab key a couple of times to get rid of the world map there. And so I'm using the arrow keys on the numpad over here to move around the world. So the white covering, if I hit the K key here, you'll see a yellow X appear, and it'll K is for look, so hit K, and it'll show us what is at our cursor. So here is snow-covered dense grama, which is basically, I think that's like a shrub actually, and there's also a pile of snow there. Here we got snow-covered dense knotgrass, snow-covered dense reed grass. Here's a snow-covered shrub. A snow-covered larch, which is a tree, snow-covered reed grass, so that's some type of tree, I guess. Snow-covered pine, snow-covered pine, blah 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 blah. If we go down here, we can look at our different. Here's our wagon. This has all of our supplies that we came here with. Here's a dwarf. This is Iton Dumadzit. He's our farmer. We got some of our livestock sitting around here. Some of our other dwarves, our dogs, cats, all that kind of good stuff. So our expedition landed right here on the edge of this this little cliff here. So these little up arrows here, as you can see, means it's an upward slope. So if we hit shift and the less than symbol, we'll go up a level. So now we're looking at this level. So now these are downward arrows, meaning it's a downward slope from there. So if we hit shift and use our arrow keys, we'll go over 10 spaces at a time. So we can kind of view our whole world going back and forward like this. So this is the top layer of our world here. I'm going to hit shift and the greater than symbol to go back down to our normal level, and I'm going to hit F1, which will bring me back to our wagon. So again, I'm going to hit shift and the greater than symbol. This is the bottom level of our world here. So all the way over to the left, you see all these up arrows, which means we can go up a level from there. If we go down here, our stream is down here somewhere. The little river that we have running through our land is currently, everything is frozen here because it's a temperate, the temperature of the area that we're in is temperate. So that means it will freeze over during the winter time, which can be bad, but we'll be fine. So you see we got a couple pools of water here. They're all frozen over as well, ice walls. We got some rough-hewn siltstone walls. So we got silt and we got clay here, clay walls. So let's go up a level, hit F1 to go back to our wagon. So we're right here on the edge So if we go down a level, this is probably where we're going to want to build our fort into the wall here, somewhere around here. Probably, we don't have a lot of area to do this in, but we can work around these pools here, and we can kind of build a nice little base in here. But basically, we're going to want to build our base down here. So go down a couple levels. We're going to be building, there's 100, and so if we go back up to the surface, so this is the surface of our world right here. We have 144 levels of dirt below our cursor right here. So from this square, I can go down 144 levels. So I have 125 to go. So I'm not going to go all the way down there, but you guys get the point. The worlds are very, very deep. I'm going to hit F1 to go to my wagon again. And I'm going to go the other way. So as you can see here, this is our entire Embark area. So the bottom here going all the way up. This is how big our area is. I did this by using the scroll wheel on my mouse. And we're going to zoom back in now. Until I get this back to how I like it. About right there. So F1, we're going to want a couple of things to start off with here. So I'm going to go down a level, and we're going to designate a couple of things to get going here. I still have to decide where I want to put my base. It might be good to dig in from this side right here. There's kind of a cool little area right here. We could dig in straight through here, or dig in kind of in this area. I think I'm going to dig in here, because this is kind of like a protected area. It's a little alcove over here, so it might be a good place to do this actually. I'm going to move the mouse off the screen, because I don't use the mouse in this game at all. It's purely through the keyboard. So we're going to do this. We're going to start delegating a couple of tasks. So I'm going to go back to my main menu here, hit D to delegate, and we're going to hit D again, or not mine. We're going to start with trees. So T, which is default, it was on. I'm going to go up here, hit the enter button. I'm going to use shift and the arrow keys a couple times to go over 10 slots at a time. See, it left a green little square here, so that's going to be the start of the box. I'm going to go over to here, and I'm going to go down. So I'm going to do a 20 by 20 area. So actually a 21 by 21, basically. We're going to go down and hit enter again. And see all these trees turned like black and brown here, which means they are going to be chopped down. So since everything is frozen, we can't see the plants right now, but another thing we're going to want to do is hit P to gather plants. So I'm going to do the same square here. So I'm going to hit enter to start. I'm going to go over 2, down 2. And see all those other squares that popped up? Those are all plants that we can harvest. So there are a lot of plants here. They're all hidden by the snow though right now. So I'm going to hit escape to get out of this. So as soon as we unpause the game, and I can do that by hitting shift, or the space bar, our dwarves, which are set to gather plants and to cut down trees, will get into action down here. And we know who is by pulling up Dwarf Therapist here, which I'm going to pull up now. So here's Dwarf Therapist. As you guys can see here, it lists all of our dwarves over here. And these blue boxes represent what they do. These blue boxes that have the white boxes inside of them, that means they're actually proficient in that skill. So this proficient miner means they have skill points in that skill. So this little tiny white box means he is a novice butcher. These bigger boxes mean they're proficient at what they're doing. So we have right here plant gathering. So we have one plant gatherer because he's our herbalist. Vutok is our plant gatherer. So as soon as I unpause the game, Vutok here is going to get working at plant gathering. And who is our woodcutter? Woodcutter, wood burning. Who is our woodcutter? It's right here, wood cutting. That is Kivish. So as you can also notice here, we have 5 male dwarves, 2 females. Dishmab here, she is our expedition leader. She's also our mechanic. Her profession is mechanic. Her basically only skill to be helpful around the base is mechanic, Everything else she does is diplomatic involved. So that's kind of cool. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to click out of this now that you guys have seen it. This will definitely expand in the future as we get more and more dwarfs in our fortress. So now we're here again. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the space key, and you're going to see some of our dwarves go into action. So I hit space, and you now see a couple of our dwarves down here. So we got our, gonna hit pause again, hit K. This is our woodcutter, Kivish here. He's cutting down this tree. This one's blinking because this is his current task. And as you see, here's a log right here, so cedar logs. And we got Vutok over here, who is now collecting, or he's collecting the plants. So he'll be getting seeds and plants and stuff like that that we can use for, what can we use it for? Food, and we can use it to make alcohol if he finds some good plants that we can do that with, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to keep this paused for a second. I'm going to hit D one more time to delegate. It's already on mine because I'm in a hill here. And we're going to go up here, which is what we said would be a good spot to do this. I'm going to go to the wall here, hit enter, go down 3 blocks to make a 3 wide tunnel. I'm going to hit shift and arrow key twice. And we're going to build a 20 long tunnel that's 3 wide through into the side of the mountain here. And we're going to hit unpause again, and our 2 mining dwarves are going to grab their pickaxes, and they're going to head down here, and they are going to start digging into the side of this mountain. So you see them hard at work here. The blocks that are blinking are the ones they are currently working on digging out. And now he's going to, so he kind of, one of them went off and started going off the other direction. Alright, and the tunnel's complete. So they dug out all of those, and they'll go back up here to the meeting area, which is currently the wagon. So let's get back down here. I'm going to pause this again. We got a couple of rooms that we're going to want to dig out. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to dig out a 5x5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5x5 right here. Actually, I'm going to put this in a different spot. Boom, right here. So a 5x5. And we're going to make a 3 wide entrance. You'll see why in a second. Now we're going to make a 10x10, which is this size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's not 10, that's 11. Well, we can fix this easily. There we go. Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by basically 10 by 10. And I did that by hitting X to remove a designation, because for some reason it wasn't. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to remove it from the other side because I like my things one apart, my rooms. We're going to go right to the middle here, and we're going, nope, not smooth stone, D. There we go. Make an entrance there, and we're going to go over here, and I'm not sure if this is going to fit or not. Don't think it is going to. Yeah. Oops. Ah! Everything's going wrong. I somehow clicked out of my menu by accident. Okay, D to designate. We're going to remove that one. Go back to D. And we're going to go up to here. And we're going to build this size of a room. And we'll deal with this in a second. Going to build an entrance here. And we're going to build an entrance right here. So hit escape, unpause the game, and our miners are going to get hard at work here again. So they're going to start digging out these rooms, and we're going to We'll see what these rooms are for in a second. Oh, a snowstorm has come. See it down there at the bottom of the screen? If we hit A, this brings up our announcements. So spring has arrived on the calendar, the weather has cleared, a snowstorm has come. So this was on the 1st of Granite, year 126, as you can see at the bottom of the screen there. And a snowstorm has come on the 5th of Granite, year 126. So it is currently, you might not be you can't even really tell, but it is snowing outside. A snowstorm has come to our region. So our woodcutter is getting near the end of cutting his trees. There's a couple of seeds on the ground, that green thing and the yellow-brown thing. Those are different types of seeds. What type of seeds are these? We've got prickleberries. Or maybe they're just berries, not seeds. And then we got longland grass. We've got 2 piles of longland grass here, and we got some prickleberries. So those are different types of food and stuff we can eat. So this giant room here is being built. And once it is done, it is going to become our workshop and basic stockpile room. So we'll be able to build our workshops in here and some of our basic stockpiles, all of that good stuff. With 2 miners, it takes a little while to do this. So we got 4 idlers. Can't really do much about that right now, unfortunately. We're just gonna be stuck with what we got. So our tree cutter here is done already. So we're gonna stop one more time here. I'm gonna hit D, and we're going to select T again. We're going to start with this tree here, go over 2, go down 2, and we're going to tell him to cut this area as well, just so we can start off with a lot of wood, because we're going to need a lot of different types of wood. So our dwarves are running around finishing mining. Now they're going to get started on this room, even though they're not finished with that room. That's just the UI, or the AI in this game. It just... sometimes it's a little wonky. The weather has cleared. Awesome. So it's no longer snowing, as you can see here. Also, Vutok has become an herbalist. He already was, I thought. Oh well. And they're not finished with this room, so they're going to go finish the other room now, because that makes logical sense. Now they're going to dig out this 3x3 room here, or 5x5. Which is now complete, and now they're going to go finish the other 10x10 room. So they're done. What are we going to do now? We're going to pause the game again. We're going to hit B to build. And I'm going to hit W for workshops. We have a couple of different workshops here that we're going to want to do. We navigate this screen by using the plus and minus keys to get to what we want, or we can just hit the hotkey. So I'm going to hit the hotkeys. We're going to want a couple of basics here at the beginning. We're going to want a carpenter's workshop. So this interface is pretty easy to use. As you see here, it's got some lighter green X's and some darker green ones. The darker green ones you don't want to put in front of a door. So if I put this workshop right here, people would not be able to, our dwarves would not be able to use that entrance, because those 2 dark green squares basically mean those are impossible squares to for the dwarves to pathfind through. So we're going to want to put this somewhere where it's not in front of the door. So I was going to put it here, but they're right in front of that door. So we're going to put it on this side of the room. I'm going to hit enter, and we can select which material we want it to be made out of. Let's select cedar. So that's good. We got our carpenter's workshop. That's where we make our basics out of wood, is at the carpenter's workshop. That's where we make our beds, tables, chairs, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to turn my desk light on here real quick. Alright, next we want to build a mason's workshop. This is where we do the same as the carpenter's workshop, except this is where we make them out of stone. So we're going to build that one right here. Cedar logs as well. Alright, what's next? We're going to need a craft workshop. This is where we make different crafts. So this is where we'll make mugs out of wood, or mugs out of stone, stuff like this. These are the types of things that we're going to need to sell to traders later on in the game. There's a few other different things we can make here as well. So we're going to put this down, and I'm going to make this one out of cedar as well, just to keep it constant. I'm going to need a mechanics workshop. This is where we build our mechanisms, which is how we build our traps and our door that we're eventually going to have at the front of our fortress. You don't really make very much at the mechanics workshop, at least not at the beginning. We're going to make it out of cedar as well. We're going to need a still, which is L. Still is where we make all of our beer. So this is where we make our dwarves happy, is we produce our ale here. Cedar logs as well. And we're also going to need... that'll actually be good for now. So our dwarves are going to go, as soon as we unpause the game, they're going to go ahead and jump to work and make these workshops for us. So they're going to grab the materials they need to make it. They're going to go in, they're going to make the workshop. Mason's workshop has been built. So see here, Mason's, Craft Dwarf, Still, Mechanics workshop, they're all finished. If we hit the Q key, we can go into the workshop. So this one needs carpentry. This is waiting on our carpenter to come make it, who is currently out cutting wood. So he'll come and make this when he's done cutting wood. So we've got our Mason's workshop. If we hit A to add a new task, we can see what we can make here. So here is where we make everything out of rock. Like I said, it's the same as the carpenters, except this is kind of where we make everything out of rock. So we can make a rock armor stand, blocks, a throne, which is a chair, coffins, doors, floodgates, hatch cover, grate, cabinet, coffer, which is like a chest, statues, slabs, table, weapon rack, quern. I have no idea what a quern is, and a millstone. A quern is like a... Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a smaller version of a millstone, if I remember right. So that's cool. So that's at the Mason's workshop. Craft Dwarf's workshop with A. So we can make things out of rock, wood, bone, shell. Can engrave a memorial slab. We can decorate things with ivory tooth, with horns, pearls. We can make a totem. We can make cloth crafts, silk crafts, yarn crafts, ivory tooth crafts, horn crafts, pearl crafts. We can make crafts out of leather. We can extract metal strands, and we can also make wax crafts if we have wax available. So if we go up here to, let's say, shells, what can we make out of shells? We can decorate things with shells. We can make crafts, leggings, gauntlet, or a helm out of a shell. How about bone? Can make bone bolts, which is what we use for hunting, so that would come in handy definitely. Can decorate things with bone, make bone crafts, leggings, greaves, gauntlets, or helms. Or wood, we can make wood bolts, a wooden nest box, a wooden jug, which is the same as a barrel. We can store, no, is a jug the same as a barrel? Is a pot the same? That's something I'll have to look up. Wooden hive, wooden crafts, bolts. And rock, this is where we can make rock hives, pots, jugs, nest box. We can make a rock short sword, which we need a rock that can be sharpened, rock instrument, mug, and crafts. So that's what we can make here at the Craft Dwarf's workshop. I'm going to pause the game again and hit Q to go over to Mechanics workshop so we can check out what you build here. Rock mechanisms or traction benches. Traction benches are made, it's kind of like for your hospital, if I remember right, your dwarf hospital, and rock mechanisms is what I was talking about with the traps. You need mechanisms to make traps. And Q to go to our still. Basically the only thing you make here, brew drinks, extract from plants, or make mead. We can make mead also with honey. But you basically hit brew drink and they'll make a drink out of anything it can find. So here comes our lumber person. He's going to come in here. He's going to build his carpenter's workshop so we can see it is now made. Let's see what we can make at the carpenter's workshop. We can make wooden shields, bucklers, training spears, swords, axes. We can make barrels, which is very important. We can construct wooden blocks, make buckets, animal traps, cages, a wooden armor stand, bed. This is really important. The only thing you can make beds out of is wood. So we have wooden chairs, caskets, wooden doors, floodgates, hatch covers, all this type of stuff is all made here. Spiked wooden ball. Make wooden mine carts, wheelbarrows, pipe sections, wooden spikes, wooden split, and a wooden crutch for our dwarves that are injured. So that's all we can make there. And if we go back into our build workshop menu, you can see there are tons of other things we can make. We can build a leatherworks, quern, millstone, loom, clothier's shop, bowyer's workshop, metalsmith's forge, jeweler's workshop, butcher's shop, tanner, a siege workshop, farmer's workshop, kitchen, fishery, ashery, a dyer shop, a soap maker's workshop, and a screw press. Tons of different things we can make in this game. Tons and tons of different buildings. So that's good for now. We're going to want our workshops to get to work over here though. First thing we're going to do is go to our carpenters, and we're going to make beds. We're going to start with 5 beds for now. So I've queued up 5 different beds, and how I made beds was I hit A to add a new task, and you see bed down here? Its hotkey is B. So I just hit B on my keyboard and it makes beds. So easy way, and 5 beds are now queued up. Is there anything here we need to make? Well, not yet, because we haven't found any rock yet. So we can't make anything at the mason's workshop until we discover some rock. So what about our craft dwarves? Well, same thing. Unless we want to start making some wooden bolts, but there's not really any point to that because we need to make a bow and a quiver. And to make a bow, we need a bowyer's workshop. And we need, to make a quiver, we need leather, which means we need a butcher's shop, which means we need animals to hunt, which means we need a hunter. So unless we get a dwarf that is a hunter, or we get a trade caravan where we can buy some leather from, we're pretty much stuck without a hunter right now. But that's okay because we have a fisher. So our fisher can supply our base with some food from the river. But the rivers are all frozen over right now, so they're not going to be doing that either. Mechanics workshop can't do anything there, and still, if we hit Z to bring up our status, we have over 100 drinks right now. Our food stores is over 300. Our drinks are over 100. We have no reason to brew any drinks right now. So in the meantime, I'm going to designate some more digging. I'm going to expand our 3x3 cavern here out to here. And I'm going to make a 5x5 here. And a 5x5 here. Connect them in the middle. And I'm going to fix these real quick because I just did that wrong. I'm gonna do this. Alright, these areas are going to be used as farms. That's what we're going to do here. They're going to be underground farms. One of them is going to do our mushrooms, and the other is going to do some other things that we can do. And I'm going to build a 3x5 area here on top of them, and this is going to be the stockpiles for these areas. Which brings me to the next point. We need to build a couple of stockpiles in this room right here. And we also need to go to our main menu, hit B, and I don't see it on, yeah, Trade Depot. If we hit capital D, it'll bring up our Trade Depot. That's what this room here is for. And our place, and it needs 3 different types of woods to build this out of, or different materials. So we're going to go down to cedar, and all 3 of them are going to be cedar. So our trade depot, a caravan, as the game told us, is going to arrive in the fall, right before winter comes. So a caravan from our homeland will show up, and we can purchase things from them. We can trade them. So we're going to, at one point, start making a whole bunch of things to make to give to them. And hopefully we can get some good stuff from them. Things that we didn't bring with us, and things that we can't necessarily just get out here either. So back to our main menu. One more thing before I unpause. I'm going to make some stockpiles. So to do that, we're going to hit P, And our first stockpile we're going to make is a wood stockpile. So I'm going to hit W. We're going to make this 3 wide and the length of this hall. So this is going to store, if I hit this and hit Q, go over top of it. So it's wood stockpile number 1. They don't use bins or barrels. We don't need wheelbarrows. S, this will bring up everything we can store. So these are all kind of grayed out, so none of this stuff can be stored in the stockpile. If we go down to wood, it's white, which means it can. So it's going to store any type of wood imaginable in the game in this stockpile. Any wood we find, cut down, it will be stored here. So that's where all the wood's going to be stored. I'm going to hit P again. This next stockpile here is going to be for food. So we got our food stockpile here. It's going to be 3 wide as well. And as you guessed, this is going to be for all types of food. So we got food here. It's going to store anything. Tons of different types of food. The only thing it's not going to store is cheese from plants. Because that really doesn't matter, or bone meal. It knows what to store here automatically. The only thing I'm going to forbid it from storing is eggs. I'm going to forbid it from storing eggs. Why is that? Because we're going to bring our hens inside. We don't want it to store eggs. Because if we tell our stockpile to store eggs, as soon as our chickens lay eggs, or hens, when they lay eggs, they'll be brought here to the stockpile. I don't want that to happen. We have a rooster. I want those eggs to be fertilized so we can get more chickens. And once we get a lot of chickens, then we can have them start storing the eggs, because we can then cook the eggs and it can be provided as food to our dwarves. But right now I don't want that to happen, because I want our dwarves to leave the eggs alone, and I want baby chickens so we can have tons of little chickens running around. And what we'll do then is we'll get a decent population of chickens, and then we'll allow our dwarves to take the eggs from them so we can eat the eggs. But for now, no. We want to make baby chickens. And we're going to make one more stockpile here. So we got our food stored here. We got our wood stored in here. And I'm going to make a small one here, which I'm already messing this up. I'm going to select this as a custom stockpile. And I'm going to hit T to select what we're going to put here. We're going to enable all of this other stuff. For now is going to be allowed, not corpses. I'm going to block corpses or disable corpses. And we don't want refuse here. We don't want stone either, but we're going to enable ammo, coins, bars, blocks, gems, finished goods, leather, cloth, weapons, and armor. So everything else can be stored here. We don't want food, corpses, refuse, stone, or wood stored here, because wood and food have its own storages, and corpses, refuse, and stone we'll get into in a little bit. So now we're going to do this 2 blocks all the way down, and this is going to be our custom stockpile. So this is going to be basically our stockpile for everything else. So that's saved. I'm just double checking. Cool. And we're going to go ahead and hit space bar to unpause once again. Now dwarfs are all going to get the work. And now, as you notice, there are 0 idlers, which means, because now we have work to do. All of our other dwarves that aren't busy digging or cutting trees or gathering plants, what they're going to do now is they're going to bring all of this stuff from our wagon up here down into our stockpiles, and they're going to store it all there. So, cool. And I'm going to do something cool here. I'm going to hit capital H, and I'm going to hit F2 and hit Z, and I basically just created a hotkey for zooming to this exact spot on my screen. So if I hit F1, I go to my wagon. If I hit F2, I go to my base. So now I can hit F1 and F2 to go back and forward between my bases. So the wagon, base, wagon, base, wagon, base. You get the point. Space bar, let's let the game play out for a little while. So they're bringing our wood into the bottom stockpile. Our seeds, so anything food related will be in that middle stockpile. And the top one will be for everything else that we have. So I'm gonna let the game play out a little bit here. So our miners decided all of a sudden that they needed to stop mining and start storing items in stockpiles. I'm not sure why they stopped right in the middle of their mining project, but whatever. The AI in this game is a little weird sometimes. So if we hit K here, you can see here's all of our wood. So we got cedar, pine, larch. Here's the prickleberries from earlier. We got 3 hide roots here. So these are actual plants that we can eat. We got a dwarven rum barrel. So if we hit enter on that, you can see there's 4 things of dwarven rum inside of it. And we got a meat barrel, so horse meat. And this is a meat barrel. Falcon meat. So this is what I was talking about earlier, about the different types of meats going in a bucket. So each meat is going to come in its own bucket. So let's say we eat these 2 pieces of horse meat here. That means at that point with the horse meat, all that means is that once we eat those 2 pieces of horse meat, we'll be left with the empty cedar barrel, which we can now use to brew some alcohol, or we can store some other type of food in it. And this item up here is our iron anvil. So this is our anvil that we're going to need a little bit later, of course. And there's going to be a couple other things I'm going to want to build here in a second as well, once these areas are mined out. But this is probably actually a pretty good stopping point for this first episode. I know I didn't really get too in depth with it yet, but you'll definitely see what's going on here in a little bit. So we got a couple new things here added real quick that I'm going to point out. Here's one of our cats too. The cats kind of wander around. The next episode I will get into animals, because we have to do something with our animals as well. So we got another meat barrel here, which has eagle meat. These down blue arrows means our dwarves are thirsty, so they're probably sitting here drinking something right now. So this guy, he's a miner. They are sitting in the stockpile drinking out of these barrels. So they're drinking some rum, anything like that. Dwarves drink alcohol when they're thirsty. That's all they do. They drink alcohol. Rum, alcohol, or beer, wine. Doesn't really matter. They just drink it. That's what they like. They like alcohol. So anyways, as I said, this is a pretty good point to wrap up the episode here. So this is Thunderbolt signing off. Thanks for watching episode 2 of our first embark into Dwarf Fortress. And I'll see you guys all in episode 3. Thanks for watching. Bye.